Welcome to Transformation with Martine. Conquer everything and compromise nothing. This show brings you real, raw, and vulnerable conversations. If you have never liked small talk and have been on a personal growth journey for a long time, stay tuned as Martine and her guests share empowering stories. Now is the time to own your past and look toward your future with hope. Believe in your dreams, and all that you want to achieve is possible. Transformation Coach Martine helps you accept and love you for you. It's time to listen to your heart and tap into your unlimited potential. You have the answers you need inside. Sometimes you just need the right guide to help allow transformation to happen. Transformation with Martine starts now.
Welcome everyone to Transformation with Martine, where we conquer everything and compromise nothing. For those of you that are familiar, my show is about hope, or those that are not familiar, my show is about hope and the resilience of the human spirit. And my show is every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And I'm excited to welcome my guest today. We are old friends and colleagues from, a lot of years back. So this is kind of fun. Without further ado, welcome Robin Eaton.
Thanks for having me join you today, Martine. It is so much fun to be back together again.
It is, absolutely. It's been a long time. Jamie's been on the show at least 3 times. Yeah, another one of our awesome colleagues. So, so today I want to talk about, you've got like a couple stories that are in my head, but especially the one in Peru. Did you want to share that one? Talk about challenges and overcoming and way out of your comfort zone and just like forging on, because you have to.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many stories from my trip to Peru, but just a little backstory on how that came about. I just kept having this push, this internal drive to deepen my roots in shamanism. And so, I tried seeking out opportunities and they never worked out. And then this trip lands in my lap out of nowhere. This woman that I'd come across years before, and she's taking a group to Peru to travel with the shamans and experience all of these things. And I just knew I had to go on this trip. And so I call her up and to talk to her about the trip. And she's like, "Oh, great. I can get you in next year." And I'm like, no, I have to go on this one. And she's like, "Well, that's just not possible. I'm making all of the arrangements tomorrow." And I find myself arguing with her, which was totally out of character. I'm like, no, I have to go on this one. You haven't made the arrangements yet. So that means there's still time, right? We have until tomorrow. What do you need from me? And so I talked my way into the trip. I basically was like, give me a list of what you need to get me in on this trip. And she did. And so overnight, I'm booking plane tickets and I'm scrounging to get all the things that I need. And I made it happen. And so it was a 3-week trip to Peru. I literally spent every last penny I had to go on this trip. I left my job. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks. I hope I have a job when I come back." But
not an easy thing.
Right? I was like, not sure how I'm going to pay the mortgage when I get home. Right? Not sure. But I just knew I had to do this. I needed to do this for me. It was one of those just deep spiritual callings. And so I go to Peru, and within the first couple days, we went way up into the mountains. And I get altitude sick. I have, every time I've gone up in the mountains, it takes me a while to acclimate. So we're up there in the middle of nowhere in this tiny little village with there's no medical, we brought with us two air containers of oxygen to help out. And we go up even further into the mountains to these sacred sites. And as soon as we get up there, I start getting sick. I'm having trouble breathing. I'm nauseous. I've got headache, all the things. And so, but we brought oxygen tanks with us, right? So somebody is like, so they go find the oxygen tank. Well, the mask, the things to hook the oxygen tank to, are with a different group who's somehow gotten lost and hasn't joined us yet.
No. Yeah.
So now I'm up here, like I'm totally having this response. I really, I'm all up in my head.
Yeah.
I'm having to face my personal, fears and issues about needing help and having to ask for help. And then I ask for help and the help isn't available, right? Because they're still making their way up the mountain.
Yeah.
And one of the shamans came over and he just kind of talked to me and he helped me slow down. And it really made a big difference, right? Just going inward and slowing down and getting out of my head.
Yeah.
And then so many in the group were being so helpful and so nice, and I just didn't know how to receive it. So now I'm like, now I'm this bawling, crying mess.
Yes.
Having trouble breathing, and I'm fighting my emotions. And at a certain point, I was just like, look around you. Look at this amazing place that you're in. Like, there's a choice here. You can sit in this misery, or you can just accept what's happening and like enjoy the view and accept all of the love being sent your way. And so I settled into the day. And as soon as I settled in, the oxygen mask showed up. I got a little oxygen, started feeling better. The day, and the afternoon went really cool. We saw amazing sights. We did ceremonies. And then on the way home, so we're going to ride horses back down the mountain. Well, it's late and the horses are agitated, and most of the group didn't know how to ride, and the horses are all kind of in a hurry. So we're on the horses and we're trying to go back, and my horse gets into a fight with the horse in front of it. Like the horse in front of it like slows down, turns around, starts kicking and turning around and biting at my horse. I do know how to ride, so I'm trying with the limited homespun gear on the horse to get my horse turned around. My friend who's on the horse in front of me gets thrown hard. I managed to keep my seat and get off my horse. We're helping her. Like I mean, this was a day of just chaos. It was like one thing into the next. And so we end up sending the horses down, and we did some energy work for my friend. And we start walking down without the horses, end up getting a ride, but we get back to our spot, and I start really, like, the altitude thing really starts hitting me again. And I'm sitting in my room, and now I've vomited. I'm starting to have a little bit of panic over, like,
for sure,
if this altitude stick gets worse, I'm in a bad spot, because it's about a 4-hour bus ride back down to the city. And like, so I've got, and the oxygen tank for whatever reason isn't working, and I'm just laying there having this moment thinking, I spent every dime I had. We are 3 days into a 3-week trip. What if it's going to be this miserable the entire time? What if I can't get past this sick? What if it gets worse? What if I die up here? I'm just having, like, my mind is just spinning.
Yeah.
Right? And then I got to this moment of quiet, this moment of, well, so what if it's miserable? Go home. Like, I have choices here. I'm forgetting that there's a choice. Right? That there's always another option. And as soon as I recognize, like, I have a choice, yeah, so what? It's miserable. And so what if I spend all my money? I can get another job. I can earn more money.
Yeah.
I have credit cards. I'm a grown-ass woman with a credit card, right?
Yep.
I can buy a plane ticket home tomorrow. And as soon as I, like, settled into, like, there's choices here, got out of my head, and my body started to calm down, and the altitudes, it was like to me, it was like a miracle because the altitude sickness just started to ease up.
Yeah.
And the whole trip, like things shifted in that moment so much by just reminding myself I have choices.
Right.
And I think that's, I know your show's about hope, and I think that's a big part of hope is remembering there's choices, there's options, even when it feels like you're trapped, when it feels hopeless. Like there's always something. There's my coming through.
Yeah, there always is. When I'm thinking about like the horses, that terrifies me. I love horses. I'm not like an experienced rider or anything, but I love them. But I was just thinking about just the other day or other similar circumstances. We are so absolutely privileged that we just bought a lake home. Oh, so grateful. Yeah. But like going down from like the porch, like you go down quite a bit, and because this property's been sitting a while, it's kind of a strange story. It's been sitting a while. So many leaves have built up, and the steps are kind of steep and kind of slippery. And I'm like going down, I'm like, gosh, freaks me out. And then going back up, boom, 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 I can just go up. But that always scares me. But thinking about being on a horse and trying to go down, oh no, I think that would have sent me over the edge there.
Narrow trails and you're going down. And so it's hard for the horses. It's hard to keep your seat.
Yes.
And then they bottlenecked, which is what caused the fighting. And like, I've ridden, but I'm no expert horsewoman.
Yeah.
And I was terrified in that moment too. But things happen so fast, so rapidly that you just kind of flow with it and it like settles in after the fact.
Yeah. Because, I'm thinking like, obviously I don't know, like you're sharing what's going on in your head and, what if I die up here? I've spent every last dime, all these things. Did you ever think about like how much you've already overcome? Because not everybody out here in the audience knows your stories, but I know some of them and I know shit, you've already come a lot. Did any of that go through your mind or no? It was like, couldn't hear any of that.
No, it's funny. In that moment, none of that came into play. It was more just like, oh my God, I've put everything into this, everything I have. And what if I made a mistake? What if this was the wrong choice? What if this doesn't work out? What if I'm miserable with this whole thing when I've invested everything into it?
Yeah.
And it was in that moment that while I don't think I was consciously thinking of the things that I've overcome before, I think there's a part of me that went back to, and you know what? You used to want to die every single day. Like I was suicidal. And I know Martine knows that part of my history.
Yeah.
And now you're living and you took a chance. And so what if it doesn't work out? Take another chance, do something different. And it was that piece that I have a choice. Like, so what? You're living, you took a chance. And that changed everything.
Yeah. Oh, that's powerful. Powerful. You think about just the whole, like I said, my show is about the resilience of the human spirits. We really are resilient.
Yeah.
We can be if we choose to be,
It's that choice, right?
Yeah.
Remembering it is a choice.
Absolutely. We're going to take a short break and we'll come back and talk more about Robin's story. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to Transformation with Martine, where we conquer everything and compromise nothing. Happy Friday. My guest today is Robin Eaton, and we've been talking about her journey of being in Peru and just wondering what the heck was she doing 3 days into it. So Robin, you are, you're going, you're in your place for the night. and you're stressing about things and just wondering, what can you do? And then you realize you've got a choice. You are a grown woman. You've got cards. You could get home. You could do whatever you need to do. Where did your mind start going after you decided, okay, I really do have a choice?
After I accepted, like, there's a choice here, it was, I want to see where this takes me. I want to, like, what? So it's uncomfortable. Yeah. But that's where all the magic happens, is when we get out of our comfort zone and when we try something new and when we get uncomfortable. And so I just settled into it and decided to ride the ride, see where it took me, and to do my best to have fun with it and to learn from it. And remember that if at any time, if it got too miserable, I could whip out that credit card, buy a plane ticket home, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was really beautiful. We had such an amazing time on that trip. Weeks of traveling from sacred site to sacred site, seeing these incredible, feats of architecture and the history, and doing ceremonies and rituals with the Andean shamans. Sorry, my cat is really wanting to be.
It's okay. She just wants love. Hey, baby.
And it was this incredible trip, but it was full of moments like that. Later in the trip, 2 weeks into the trip, we'd all gone out to dinner and we went back to the room, and I felt like I just had really bad heartburn, but that really bad heartburn quickly turned into a lot of purging, vomiting, and purging in all the ways you can purge from your body.
Yep.
Really rapidly. And I had a wonderful roommate on that trip, and she called the doctor into the room for me because she's like, you are going downhill fast, like you need help. And the doctor came and was trying to, and I was trying to talk the doctor into, isn't there a shot or something you can give me, right? Because the group is moving on tomorrow and I want to stay with them. And that poor doctor, she just kept looking at me and she's like, Robin, I recommend you go to hospital. She just kept saying it over and over until I finally agreed. So here I am in Peru, in a country where I don't speak the language very well, and I'm taking an ambulance ride to the hospital. I've never been hospitalized before. Right? So I'm like facing all my big fears, right? So now I'm in the hospital. I don't really know what's going on. I don't speak the language very well. And before long, my roommate came with me for a few hours, but after a few hours, she was like, I have to go. The group is leaving, right? They're boarding buses and they're moving on. They're leaving for the next part of the trip. And so now I'm alone. And I tell you what, that was, in the moment, it was terrifying. It was all consuming. And I was just weak as a kitten. I mean, I because I'm just purging like crazy and I've got nothing. In hindsight, it was the best part of my trip because it taught me how to surrender. Because in that moment, I had control over nothing, not even my own body. Nothing. Like others are making choices for me. I'm just kind of along for the ride. And then the guide who'd been helping us in Cusco came in and to check on me, and he checked on me that night, and he was making arrangements for me to catch up with my group. And he was so funny. He's like, okay, Robin, I'm going to go back to the hotel and I'm going to get your bags and I'm going to bring them here. And I'm like, I don't care about my stuff right now. And he just gives me this look and he's like, Robin, clean clothes. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Yes, please go get my things, right?
Yeah.
And then the next day they were making the arrangements for me to catch up with the group. So they're having me fly. I had to fly to Juliaca to catch up with the group. And so as
Mhm.
my guide is making these arrangements, I remember our guide telling us that, you know, we were gonna be taking the buses through Juliaca, and it was a very dangerous city, and by no means could we stop the bus for anything, like no going to the bathroom, nothing. Like we were like, don't even
Yeah.
ask, right? Because it's a very dangerous place. Like she's, you know, going on and on about like literally dead people in the streets, kind of a thing.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I've got all kinds of like, you know, crazy ideas in my head. And my guide, who's setting up for me to go join the group, he's like, okay, you know, you're going to fly into Juliaca. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I was told that I shouldn't go to like Juliaca is not safe.
Yeah.
No, very safe. You'll be fine. I'm like, okay, you know, like what choice do I have here? But then he goes, but don't talk to anyone. Don't talk to anyone. Get off that plane, talk to no one. We'll have someone waiting for you. They'll have a sign with your name on it. Look for that person. Don't talk to anyone else. Like he's making a big deal out of like, don't interact with
Yeah.
people. So I am not feeling great about this, right? So they take me from the hospital, they take me to the airport, get me set up at my gate, they call my flight, and we literally walk out onto the tarmac, and there's two flights boarding. And it's not really clear which plane I'm supposed to
Oh
get on.
no.
So now I'm like, so I get on the plane and I'm trying to ask everybody, like, you know, are we going to Juliaca in my broken Spanglish?
Yeah.
Finally, somebody took pity on me and assured me, yes, that's where we're going. Right. So now I'm just worried about getting through the flight without having to purge again.
Yes. Oh my God.
I make it through the flight. We land. I go straight to the bathroom. And then I come out to get my bags. Everyone from the flight is gone. My bag is the only one there. It's a tiny little airport. And so I grab my bag and I'm in the lobby and I look around the lobby and there's this ring of men all standing there staring at me. And there's no one there holding a sign with my name on it. And again, I'm just like what is with this trip?
Yeah.
I'm facing like every fear and everything, you know. So again, here I am, and I just start laughing. And Martine, I know you know this, but your audience doesn't know. I used to work in law enforcement.
Mhm.
So here I am, and I've been told how dangerous Juliaca is. So I, you know, having worked in law enforcement, I'm thinking cartel kind of stuff. I'm thinking all
Uh-huh.
these things. I'm looking around the room, and here I am, weaponless, weak, still completely weak from having been in the like I just got released from the hospital.
Yeah.
And I'm totally just at the mercy of whatever happens here. And so in that moment, I just started laughing. I mean, these guys must have thought I was insane, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
here's
would think
this
so.
bald white woman standing here, like with her luggage, looking around and laughing hysterically because
Yeah.
it's just like what else? And I'm kind of in that like, what else? Bring it on, because
Yeah.
I just have to let go in this moment. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I just have to trust that I'm going to be okay, no matter what. Like I'm going to be okay. And so I start laughing, and now there's some like nervous laughter amongst the men, and this guy comes running up to the doors, comes running in like one of those cartoons, right? And he like
Uh-huh.
skips across the floor, and he's holding a sign with my name on it, and he looks around the room, and his eyes come back to me, and he lands on me, and he's like, Ruben?
Yeah.
Right? And I start laughing, and I'm like, no. And he gets this crushed look on his face, like, how could you not be? And then I start laughing again. I'm like, of course I'm Robin. Yes, it's me.
Let's
So
go.
we went, and really the rest of the trip, it was amazing. But that period of time of like those moments where I had to face my inner demons, where I had
Mhm.
to let go, and where I learned surrender, like in hindsight, those were the best parts of the trip because they changed my life in
Right.
fundamental ways. They taught me to seek hope within, to seek trust within, to find faith
Mm-hmm.
within, and to let go. Like there's so much that we try to control.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about what's in here. And I'm at my heart for a reason, because what's in here will mess you up.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with that.
Headspace, oh my gosh, right? My headspace, if I let myself spin in that, it'll really mess me up.
Mm-hmm.
But if I let all of that go and I get quiet and I sink into my heart, that's where the hope is. That's where the faith is. That's where the safety is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not outside of us. It's all within.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a powerful story, and this is more detail than I've heard before. Like, gosh, even just like getting off the plane and seeing these men, and then wait, there's no sign. I mean, yeah, a lot of this, I'm not sure how I would survive it really myself. And I mean, I know it was a journey for you anyway. And I've been through some pretty darn hard things in my life, like very hard, but whoa, especially being like, I've often thought, my plan next year is to go to Italy, and part of it I want to be on my own, because I want to experience it, and like the good parts of it, just like being free to do whatever I want to do any day I want, whether it's a hop a train to Venice or whatever it is I want. But the other part is like, I want to do this by myself, to know I can do it by myself. Yeah.
There's something so liberating about doing things on your own and just letting go. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what's next? And just kind of letting things unfold instead of getting all wrapped up in what's next or what's happened. To just be really present with yourself is it's magical.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. I'm learning that more and more as time goes on, as I trust, and yeah, there's no more like what you went through to learn that, boy, you really got to trust you, because you're relying on you for this. Yeah, people are there to help you, but at the same time, it's you to get your head right, your mind, your heart, everything right. Yeah. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Robin's story. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to Transformation with Martine, where we conquer everything and compromise nothing. My guest today is Robin Eaton, and we've been talking about her journey in Peru, and boy, having to conquer your own mind and surrendering to the fact that you have choices, but you can't always control things that are going on around you. Do you think that like the scariest thing that you had been through?
In the moment it was, but no. When I think of some of the scariest moments I've been through, I go back to some of my days in law enforcement, where my life was truly in danger, or the threat had been like the knowing that that man could have killed me right there and chose not to.
Yeah.
And I had moments like that. So they were some of the deepest in the moment. They were the scariest moment in the moment, right? Like, and it's so hard to put that on a scale, because I think anytime we have to face our mortality, anytime we have to face our inner demons, anytime that we face our big fears, right?
Yeah.
It's scary as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be honest, the scariest thing that I've had to face in my life is learning how to live, learning to truly embrace life. And instead of just existing and surviving and because there's a difference, right? There's a difference when you switch and you truly live and embrace
Mhm.
life and embrace new things and learn to live in the edges of your comfort zone, because you're
Mhm.
right where you just keep expanding and expanding,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it's learning to make friends with the fear, I think.
Yeah. I agree. I was just actually talking to one of the producers for the station here yesterday and just saying how scared I was to do this. And now it's like 2.5 years. I just love it. And I'm just who I am. I mess up all that all the time. And actually, one of the stories, just looking at you now, seeing like how you saved me at that retreat we were at. You remember back in what, 2019?
2019.
Yeah, because I don't know how I was going to get through that until I looked over and saw your face and you encouraged me. And this was for, the audience here. We were at a master coach retreat and we had to coach in front of the room. And that was the first time I'd ever done that. And I was like stuck. There was a lot of silence. I didn't know what to do. And I looked over at Robin and she just smiled at me and she's like, "You got this." And it's like, okay, something shifted inside me. I needed that. Like I needed you. I needed her. For that encouragement. And that's something that we can do for each other and sometimes for ourselves, just to encourage ourselves that, hey, we can do this. And I've coached quite a bit in front of the room now, but it was that one time like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And I'm going to let my client down. And I'm going to let everybody down. And I'm a failure and I can't do anything. And it's like the push through. Ooh,
Yeah.
God, that was scary.
And it's so funny because I look back at that same coaching intensive we were at.
Mhm.
And while for you, the scary thing was to coach in front of the room,
Mhm.
for me, I was fine with getting up there and coaching somebody else in front of the room. No problem. I got this. But to be coached and
Oh,
to lay
yeah.
myself bare in front of the room, I was terrified of that.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful I did, because
Mhm.
now, like, it's become a part of my life where I've really embraced no more secrets, no more hiding. I have nothing
Mhm.
to prove. I have nothing to defend. I have nothing to
Yeah.
hide. I have nothing to protect. This is me.
Mhm.
And back then I was so afraid to show me that for me, it was like, yeah, I'll take the coach's chair any day, every day. Right. Like, bring it on. I don't know but don't put me in that client chair where I have to do this in front of a room.
Yeah.
And, and now it's completely like I can flow in between with
Mhm.
ease.
Yeah.
Um, it's so funny, the things that we face in the
Mhm.
same circumstances and how we gain encouragement from each other, as
Oh,
I
yeah.
watched the other individuals step into that chair and let themselves be coached in front of the room.
Yeah.
That helped me find the courage to step up there too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely is being vulnerable and seeing that everybody else is having some kind of feelings going on of fear, whether it's yours or mine. I mean, or something completely different is pretty powerful. Do you think at some point, maybe whether it was 3 days into your journey in Peru or a week later, or even the 2 weeks where you got really sick, do you think you created that at any point to not continue?
Say that again. Do I think I created?
Created maybe the sickness not to continue somehow?
No, I don't think that was it. I think what happened is all of the all of the shamanic ceremonies that I was going through, all of the energy that I was moving, um, really brought out the things that I needed to face. And I think the
Mm.
illness created the situation so that I would finally let go of control.
Yeah.
so that I would find my surrender. So I do believe I created that for myself, but I don't think I created it to escape. I think I created it so that I think it all came together to create the exact set of circumstances so that I would let go, so that I would find that surrender, so that I would get the deep lesson, that soul lesson that I'd come to Peru for, that I didn't even know that I came to Peru for, right?
Yeah.
Like, what we walk into something thinking we want and need is very often not what we really want, what we really need.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So speaking of, well, what we need or want, where can people find you?
So my website is soultouchedbyrobin.com, SOULTOUCHEDBYROBIN. And you can reach me by email through there. My phone, I'm pretty sure my phone number is listed somewhere. Like you can, that's the easiest place to connect with me and what I've got going on. And I love to hear from people and answer questions too. So if you just want to reach out and say, hey, I heard you talk, I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And she has a lot of good things going on locally, her local. And I often I see emails and I'm like, oh, like I wish we lived a little closer, but one of these days I will do it. I will do it. But it got to be a little depressing seeing all these things. I'm like, oh man, wish we were closer. But even if you and Jamie do something, she's been inviting me down as well. And God, I got to do that one of these days. I got to go do that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm doing more things virtually, more classes that way.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I take people on spiritual retreats. I just got back from 2 weeks in Mexico. We had a different group each week, and we did some really amazing things with the local shamans there. So lots of opportunities.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. I like that. So, and we have a minute before we go to break. What would be something like, well, just somebody who just wants to get more in touch. Like, I know myself, I have some abilities, but I have not tapped in like I probably could. What is a way to just start gleaning more on your intuition? Ways to start hearing more?
Absolutely. The first thing is you have to get quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, we have to get quiet and we have to seek those answers within. But I think one of the easiest ways to learn how your intuition speaks to you is to actually do a little bit of a life review and go back in time and think about those moments when your intuition spoke to you and start kind of create a little journal of like, my intuition spoke to me here. This is kind of how I received the message. Either I felt it, I heard it, I knew it. This is what I knew. This is what I did or didn't do. This was the result. And as you do that, you'll start to really see how your intuition speaks to you, and you'll start to see patterns. And one of the most important places to look at your past relationships, because I guarantee you in the very beginning of your relationship, you knew whether or not it would work out. You may not have listened because we often don't.
I relate to that.
We often brush that away because we want something to work.
Yeah.
But if you look back in your relationships, you will often easily find those moments of intuition. And that's a good place to start.
I love that. Thank you. We're going to take a break, everyone, and we'll be right back with Robin's final thoughts and a few other messages. See you in a few. Welcome back, everyone, to Transformation with Martine, where we conquer everything and compromise nothing. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I hope that this show has been a blessing to you. It sure has been to me. As Robin and I were talking about a little bit on the break that, and I mentioned on the show a little bit that we are very privileged to have, even in these buyer's market times here and the crazy real estate and interest rates and all that, we were really lucky to be able to buy a lake home. And I was talking to Robin about rituals and about like clearing out someone else's energy, bringing our own in. And I feel like I kind of have a ritual, like a way that I start my morning every day. How about you, Robin? And what do you think of like just everyone having that for their own home, and maybe other people that are possibly getting into a new place, whether it's an office space, a home, or, yeah, a
Yeah.
ritual.
I think rituals are something essential that we've lost in our spiritual practices, that we've
Mm,
and I think people think that rituals and ceremonies have to take a long time, and they don't.
mhm.
It's I look, I'm kind of lazy. Like I have like, I'd love to be that person that, gets up an hour early to do yoga and then all of these other things. No, that's just not me. I'm going to hit
Yeah.
the snooze and take my sleep.
Right.
But I'm a big believer in ritual and ceremony because it grounds us into the spiritual. It grounds us into ourself. It brings us into creation, into co-creation.
Mhm.
And rituals can be as simple, like you can do a ritual in 30 seconds.
Mhm.
Um, as I'm brushing my teeth at the end of the night,
Mhm.
I think about all of the things that made me smile during the day,
Yeah.
right? And I give a little gratitude. That's a ritual. And
Mhm.
it's added into something I already do. So it doesn't take away, it doesn't take extra time,
Yeah.
but it really makes a difference in ending the day with that gratitude versus worrying about what's going on tomorrow,
Mhm.
you know and it's as simple as um when I put the keys in the car and I turn the car on and I start to drive, I'm driving to my destiny. I'm
Mhm.
driving into my dreams, right? It can
Yeah.
be those simple thoughts, those simple things that we create ritual around that really change our our whole world.
Mhm.
And you and I were talking about your home, right? And there
Mhm.
feels like there's a little sadness, a little coldness left behind.
Yeah.
And an easy thing to do with your home and I really teach, instead of clearing space, we want to transform the energy. Right? I
Mm.
don't want to send that sadness out to somebody else. So I don't want to clear it out of my house and let it go somewhere else. I want
Right.
to transform it instead. And so I was sharing with Martine that it's as simple as going room to room in the house and offering some gratitude for this new beautiful place to live, and sharing, like, this is what we want to create in this room, in this kitchen. We're going to cook with love, and we're going to have some happiness, and we're going to have fun, and we're
Mhm.
going to be creative in here. And in this living space, we are going to share our joy, and we are going to play games, and we are going to relax. And so it's
Yeah.
about bringing in the energies that you want. And that's what transforms the space. It's the gratitude and this is what
Mhm.
we're going to create here. This is the energy that I'm bringing in, and that will transform your space. And if you go room to room in your house and do that,
Mhm.
it will shift things.
I love
Yes.
that. That feels really good. Like that's a good, because yes, I don't want to send something off to someone else. I have no desire to do that. I don't know if there's a way to kind of like dissipate, or but transforming, like you're saying, into something else, and just being having that gratitude, and just thinking about the loving new energies that you are going to put in there.
And if you think about it, it
Yeah.
really is a simple transformation. If you're sad, if someone makes you laugh, doesn't the
Mhm.
sadness transform a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So it really is. And it doesn't have to be challenging. You can make rituals as complex as you want. We have some pretty
Mhm.
complex rituals, if we get into religion and some of the other things. And
Mhm.
I take place, like, there are some beautiful ceremonies that are kind of complex that I enjoy as well. But you can really shift things and create little rituals with for yourself that take 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes. They don't have to, they're so simple, and it
Yeah.
really changes the energy, changes
Mhm.
changes your mindset, changes where your heart is, drops you into the moment. and puts you in that manifestation, that co-creative state.
Yeah, there is a kind of a healing. I started doing this when I got my autoimmune diagnosis, and I can't remember who does it, but it's like a 7th plane meditation. And that one is so helpful to me of just going to a different state, but then having like this energy that just washes over you, being love. You know, and in that state, I always try to use it not only for the healing of my body, my health, but just to manifest good things that spills out, not just for me, but spills out. And there are so many things that we can do to help ourselves and others just in a simple practice. Yeah.
And that's the key to remember with healing and with everything we want to see in the world. It starts right here. It starts with us. Yeah. If you can create it within, I guarantee it will ripple out around you. It will ripple out to the people around you. It might be that you're the example that they look to. It might be that you offer hope to someone else because you've achieved something that they're seeking. If you know it, and it just does. It ripples out. Think about being in a room where a little kid starts to laugh.
Yeah.
And that laughter continues. And pretty soon the people around are smiling, and then some more laughter starts, and the smiles spread and the laughter. And it's just like that. And when we heal ourselves, it ripples out to everyone around us.
Absolutely. There's a 2 or 3 guys that are on TikTok right now, and they're so darn funny. And what they're doing, they're like out in the woods, like supposedly hunting, but they're really not doing any hunting. They're just like, there's like a tree that had fallen over or whatever, and the 3 of them are kind of sitting there, and they're telling dad jokes. And they're like whispering when they do it, and they're laughing so hard that the jokes aren't really all that funny, but they are, just because of how they're laughing. And that's everything. A little kid's laugh, there's nothing like it.
Right? It just spreads. And that's what happens when we light ourselves up, when we heal ourselves, when we get ourselves in that it transforms everything.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here, Robin. This has been so fun.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's been great to catch up and be together.
Absolutely. It's awesome. I thank you for sharing with the audience. And one more time, where can they find you?
They can find me through my website, soultouchedbyrobin.com.
I love that. I've always loved that. I think that's perfect. It's perfect for you. Again, thank you. I really appreciate it. And we should do it again, maybe with Jamie.
I love that idea.
Yeah, I think we'd have a great time. Yeah. Oh, thank you everyone for tuning in. And I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and holiday season coming up. And, check out next show, actually day after Thanksgiving, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to Transformation with Martine, real, raw, and vulnerable conversations. Listen or watch live every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com as Martine and her guests have deep, meaningful conversations, sharing empowering stories. Step into your passions and lead with your heart. If you are ready to accept and love you for you, visit MartineEmmons.com and start allowing transformation to happen today.